Hey guys, Cooper Codes here, and today is day 8 of the Pro Developer Challenge. So just going to go over real fast of the notes I took yesterday. Took some notes on operators, especially the conditional operator, the delete operator. That's it for operators, and I got into chapter 5 of statements. The three main statements, expression, and these are just different statements, expressions, compounds, declarations, if. I already know like the if-else syntax, but I just decided to write it anyways, just good practice. Switch statement, didn't know about this, learned a new thing, pretty cool. Uncommon loop statements, did do while and for in, two cool things there. And today we are going to be getting into jump statements and miscellaneous statements. And after that is actually the objects chapter. So I'm really excited to get started in objects and object-oriented programming in general. So I'm not sure if we're going to be able to get into that tonight. It's like 25 pages until objects, but you know, if we get up into it, that'll be a cool start there. Alright, so I'm gonna start taking notes and just get into the code here. Alright, so yeah, I'm just starting here with the jump statements. Got my music going, as you saw there. Yeah, I got jump statements. Let's see, labeled statements. Today was definitely lots of reading. Like there was lots of stuff that I already kind of knew about, especially in the objects chapter, but I didn't take any notes on because it just kind of like would have been like repetitive. So yeah, I'm talking about labeled statements here. Really cool thing in JavaScript. I did not know about these. It's like you can label an entire statement, and so it doesn't matter if you're in like 7 or like 100 loops into the statement. I'm not sure why you'd have 100 loops or like 100 like parentheses in there. You can like stop the loop if you label it, and then you can say like break loop or continue loop, and yeah, that's pretty cool. Okay, what do I talk about next? The break statement. Yes, so here's an example of saying, you'll see the example I write is a break check ID. You know, I'm not sure this example really is what you would use it for, but I was just kind of writing something. I'm sure there's a better example out there, and this is not the example they use in the book. But what I just wanted to show is that when this if, even like when the if's inside here, if you just press break, it will continue. If you press break, it's just going to go out of the if statement and go to the more code. But if you say break check ID, it's going to stop the entire thing, is what I wanted to say there. Okay, the continue statement is interesting. There's like lots of different cases for each loop, so if I ever needed to use that, but it pretty much just goes to the next iteration of the loop, no matter what. Return statement just returns a value, or it returns undefined if it's nothing. I didn't know that it returned undefined if you just say return, so that's something cool I learned. The throw statement, so I haven't seen this one. I've seen it before, but I haven't like seen it in use. Okay, let's see what I'm here. Yeah, okay, so it just stops the program execution, and it goes to an exception handler. And so the exception handlers in JavaScript are try, catch, finally statements. So these are pretty cool. There was lots of reading here, so sorry for the pauses in the writing. But pretty much the try statement is like what you do. So you'd like have it together with a throw, or sorry, it was the other statement, I forget. But you like have like a try then a catch. Oh, you put it together with the catch is what it is. So you put together the try and the catch, and if the try like doesn't work, it has errors. You can actually get the error as a parameter in the catch with the little e on it, as you guys see I'm writing there. And you can get that error, and you can like do whatever you want with it, and you can like ignore it or handle it or throw the exception. It's pretty cool. Then finally, is not super common, it said in the book, but it can still be used, and it doesn't matter what happens in the try or the catch. It's stuff that always gets executed no matter what. So there's some miscellaneous stuff at the end of chapter 5, but like lots of stuff that I don't really need to go over. So objects. I didn't really get far in objects. There was like lots of reading, but think I only got like the 6.2 out of like the 6 point, like a lot. So didn't really get far, but I did learn. I kind of already knew this stuff, but it was good to have it in like a structured format. I learned more about object prototypes and how when an object is made, it has a prototype on it, as you guys will see. And I learned about object literals. I kind of already knew how to do these, but it's just good to get a confirmation on like this is what works. I think, and so creating objects were in 3 ways, as you guys saw I wrote earlier: object literals, object with new, and object.create. So yeah, that's that pretty much. And then I'm going to go to object prototypes here, I'm pretty sure. Yep. Okay. So it's like whenever you make a JavaScript object, it has a second object associated with it, and that's the prototype of the object. And we can see, and you can see the object as the object.prototype, or name of the object. So for example, arrays use array.prototype, and dates use date.prototype. And so when you say something like new date, it inherits the properties from date.prototype and object.prototype, and that's called the prototype chain. I wasn't super sure about how the prototype chain works, and I think it's going to be getting into that in a later chapter. I think it said something about inheritance. So like in an inheritance chapter, it's going to start getting into that. So using object.create, this is cool. So it's pretty much like you can do the same thing with like creating an object literal, and let's do like object.create with a literal inside of it. And for the empty object, you can kind of like see the process that goes from creating an object. Is you do object.create and you do object.prototype, and it will make an empty object for you. So that's pretty cool. Querying and setting properties. This is cool. So the first 2 I wrote down are just like getting properties, and then setting properties were next. I said like person.surname. We're assuming that person doesn't have a surname before this statement, and this creates a surname property in person. And I say person with little like bracket format, name equals Thomas, and so that resets the name property because it already said the name was person.name up here. So yeah, that's cool. And then I noted that the 2 statements, I dismissed it. 2 statements, object.property and object property with little array-like things, are the same. And so yeah, that was all I got into today. So yeah, just some more meatier stuff. I definitely think it's getting past like the regular just variable like stuff. That's kind of easier. This is definitely like some more harder code. So I'm definitely excited to get further into this and just keep on doing this every day. So if you enjoyed the video, subscribe, like, all that good stuff. Alright, thanks for watching.